I have somebody right now who failed to do that, and their loved one is in the hospital, and they are just so upset because all of these simple documents aren't completed, and they're just waiting on, and the survivors of the people that didn't prepare are left to pick up the pieces. Families are shattered and never the same. From what is left behind. I was just so surprised to hear and understand that less than 30% of people were preparing for what 100% of us are going to face. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh my goodness, they planned everything. This is terrible." They say, "Oh my goodness, what a gift. They planned every detail." And they're so happy and grateful about that. It's for anyone that believes they may someday die.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest. Her name is Holley Kelley, and she's a gerontologist and a fellow in thanatology. She's a highly sought after global thought leader on aging, end of life, and final affairs preparedness. She is also a transformational and charismatic keynote speaker, bringing enthusiasm, perspectives to audiences around the world, all the while encouraging everyone to live the stage they're in. Holley has her own podcast, which is Aging Gratefully, and an award-winning show on aging on the planet for the third year in a row. She also has an Amazon #1 bestseller and a new release called Sun Rises and Sunsets, Final Affairs Forged with Flair, Finesse, and Functionality. A founder in the Latter Life Planning Institute, Holley believes everyone should embrace her company motto to live vibrantly, plan thoughtfully, and age dynamically. So this is what we're going to talk about, Holley. Tell us a little bit about your view of the world and how you want people to get there.
Well, I actually feel like that every day is a gift, and that I feel that if you are alive and in life, that we should just cherish every single moment. So I feel that aging and the gift of life is one that we should treasure. So I know that that's sometimes easier said than done. And I try to help people find those perspectives each day.
I think that's important because I think people lose that perspective in this great journey that we have. The journey's long, it has a lot going on. So people sometimes lose some of the perspectives. How can people stay focused in the perspectives of life?
Well, there's a lot of distractions today, right? So I have a saying, love the stage you're in, and that's with a capital AGE because we're all aging. So I try to encourage people to love every stage and age of life that they're in. I feel that it's so important to have boundaries and to protect the sanctuary of self, and to really just try to really be a proactive stakeholder in your life. And in doing that, you kind of make sure that you're running interference, and that you're making sure that everything that happens in your life is happening for the good of you. And if there's things that upset you, and if there's things that that aren't benefiting you, that you work hard and dedicate yourself to make sure that you don't expose yourself to that. If it's the news, if it's things that bother you, that you work hard to make sure that your life is kind of a sanctuary, and that you keep positive things, and that you listen to positive podcasts like this, and really trust your intuition. And we know sometimes that there's things that we just kind of have this inclining, something just is kind of nagging at us, and that we don't feel good. And we are like, why do we just not feel good right now? And sometimes it's just that we were around something that was just kind of nagging at us. It's kind of the feng shui of negative energy. So sometimes we just need to trust our inner compass.
I think that inner compass is something that people have to get attuned with. Do you have some techniques for people to get in touch with their inner compass so people can really breathe that breath of fresh air in?
I think the first thing to do is just really be mindful of yourself and to slow down and really take notice. I think that there's so much going on in the world, and we have so many things vying for our attention, and there's a lot of noise out there. And I think it takes slowing down and really listening. And that's an interesting term because I'm saying listening to the stillness, listening to the quiet, and really just being somebody that even listening to your body, because a lot of people that I have talked to, and particularly on my show, have talked about how they were able to find something that was an illness just by really paying attention to the signs of their body and things like that. So I really think that one secret, even though you didn't ask me, to living a fantastic life, to aging gratefully, is to slow down and cherish some of life's simplicities.
I think that that's a real good statement. And I think that's something everybody should try and do. You know, they call it breakneck speed for a reason, because as we go at this breakneck speed every day, I think we lose perspective and we lose control. So I think it's very important to try to bring that into control and make every little thing happen along the way. But also remember, it's a journey that although the journey may change and little steps along the way may change, you're in control of that, and that helps you to gain that perspective and keep that perspective going.
Yes, life's gotten very large with modernization, and with that has come some great things and technologies and choice and all of that. But we also have to know that we actually have a choice, and we can put a governor on how much of that we want to partake in.
Yes, and you know, and it becomes a daily thing, and I think people have to realize that in the driver's seat is what they need to do. Now, you are an expert in thanatology. We told everybody we were going to explore what that means. What does that mean, Holley?
Thanatology is the study of death, dying, and bereavement. And so I am somebody I kind of help people in the work that I do. That's actually a designation through the Association of Death Education and Counseling. But the work that I do is I'm highly specialized in my field, in the area that I practice, in helping people prepare for end of life. And I am a big advocate of encouraging people to do that, because I was just so surprised to hear and understand that less than 30% of people were preparing for what 100% of us are going to face. And so I was like, oh my goodness, there's so many things go wrong when people don't prepare. And the survivors of the people that didn't prepare are left to pick up the pieces. And that is often a very grim thing to be facing for those survivors. And often families are shattered and never the same from, what is left behind. And so I kind of made it my mission to really try to close the gap and fix those numbers and up those percentages in the little way that I could. And so, that's one of the areas of emphasis that I focus on.
When we talk about this with some sadness, because when there's a separation, there's some sadness, but it also should be with some happiness as well, because I think the perspective that's changed in death and dying is it's not necessarily we realize it's a stage again that happens. And now you can actually realize with that there should be a acknowledgement that there are accomplishments, that there's happiness in moving on. And that truly at the end of life, there should be a celebration of things, not a hesitancy and holding on to the sadness and the blackness. Isn't that right?
I'm so glad that you brought that up because it's so true. And I will tell you that when someone has planned, the celebration is that much larger. And there is so much less sadness and frustration, and so much more to be able to use that energy to be able to celebrate that person's life. I've never heard anybody say, "Oh my goodness, they planned everything. This is terrible." They say, "Oh my goodness, what a gift. They planned every detail." And they're so happy and grateful about that. And so that is a gift that people give their survivors when they plan everything. And their survivors are so relieved to be relieved of that burden. And so it's something that we're able to do while we're living, while we have a full frame of mind. And it's something that the survivors not only receive as a gift, but it's something that the person themselves, when they do it, they feel really good. And it's something that enriches them while they're doing it. I've worked with way too many people that they are so full of love when they are doing this. And when I do workshops, when we work the book together and they're doing this, they're literally giddy thinking about how this is going to play out. And so it's not grim. It's not, I say the word, and some people are like, "This is horrible. I can't believe you said that." But I say the word fun is in the word funeral because we have made so many funerals fun by the way that we created them in advance.
And I think this is the thing. As you say, it's about stages. Let's talk about the stages people go through with this and how this is a gift of giving and a loving gift.
As far as funerals, or?
As the preparation, the getting it done for people, helping people along the way with this, because this is what it's about, because you know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen unless something really major changes in the world the way we know it, it's going to happen. There's so much to do. I have 12 steps in the program that I made an acronym for it. And the acronym is called Created Peace. And that's 12 letters. And that's what happens when you work the steps, created peace. So a couple of the steps are that you do a bucket list. And so that's a step that you can start this process in your 20s or 30s. And I say a bucket list is something that you don't wait for a far off day called someday, because there's no day of the week called someday. You live a bucket list always. And so I'm a believer and a proponent of that. And so you're always working your bucket list, because fantastic living is just that. You're always doing it. You wake up every day and you say, before your feet hit the floor, when you open your eyes, and whether it's rainy and gloomy and the sun is shining, either or, you say, "What do I want from this day?" And then you create it. And so same thing with bucket lists. You do that. I have a kick the bucket list. So a bucket list is about living, and dying is the deadline. And a kick the bucket list is about dying, and living is the deadline. So my kick the bucket list is, these are things that you need to do so that you can die with peace and concord and harmony. This may be making amends. This may be even self-forgiveness. This is what I call getting your house in order. So this is kind of a reverse bucket list. This isn't like the woohoo, we're going to have, this adventure of a lifetime. This is soul kind of things that you want to get right. Maybe that there's some things that just you really need to get right so that you can pass with peace. And you need to pass that on so that when you pass, somebody else has peace. All kinds of things that I have in the book like that. Letters to loved ones, all kinds of things in this 12-step process. And of course, advanced directives, very, very important. I have somebody right now who failed to do that, and their loved one is in the hospital, and they are just so upset because all of these simple documents aren't completed, and they're just waiting on.
Really more important now than ever, because we still have a lot of illness going around. We have this pandemic that still is affecting the planet right now. And unfortunately, it's not at bay. It's unlikely to be at bay for a long, long time. Unfortunately, this virus is wreaking havoc. So people have to be prepared, even more so than ever, to realize that things can change. And that means even if you're healthy and you're young, that things can change. It means that things can change in a minute, how things can go, because right now is a very uncertain time. It's a time where even if you're doing everything right, things can change. And this virus is a nasty virus that is wreaking havoc around the world.
Yes, absolutely. And such a volatile time, and so much loss occurred, and so many people obviously were not prepared, and no living will, no nothing in place. And so I feel that this type of planning is something that everyone should do. It's for anyone that believes they may someday die.
Yes. And so, simple steps. So what can a person do today to secure some of their future, so to speak, so they can make it easier on the people around themselves?
At a minimum. Okay, so say you don't want to do any of the other things that I've talked about today. At a minimum, I would ask every listener of the show to Google or Bing search, any search engine, an advanced directive. And that will at least populate the basic forms that they would need to complete for their state, and at least complete those. They can be updated anytime as your life changes. If you have a second home, certainly do them in both states where you travel between, and at least do your comprehensive advanced directive forms. And that would be the greatest start for you to begin.
Yeah, and maybe you could explain to people who aren't medical people or in the fields that we have what an advanced directive is, because that two terms are scary terms. They have a lot of onerous. People think, oh my God, I've got to get a legal degree now in order to even understand this. Oh my God, this is something that is beyond me. It's not. So let's make it simple for people.
So to simplify it, they made the form kind of what it is. It's directives that you're giving in advance. So advanced directives are just that. It's what you're saying you want to happen in advance of a worst case scenario that you could imagine. So in the event that you would not be able to speak for yourself, this would be what your wishes would be. And there's more pages on this form than really it seems like there needs to be. But a lot of it is just reading and just a couple of forms that you need to sign. Would you want, in a situation where you were on life support, would you want food and hydration to keep you alive? Would you want who do you want to take care of your legal matters? It's literally 5 questions, but they're very important questions, extremely important questions, and they're actually difficult questions to answer. And you actually are a doctor, so you are familiar with this. And so while it's a simple form, it's one that you want to be extremely deliberate about. And it's extremely important who you list on these forms too. And I go into great detail about this in my book.
So your book is a wonderful book, and it helps people to get things in order and get the right perspective in order. So I want to make sure everybody has a chance, if they so want, to be able to search that out. How can they find out about that?
Yes. So my book is Sunrises and Sunsets, Final Affairs, Forged with Flair, Finesse, and Functionality with a capital F-U-N and fun. I believe there's like 3 left on Amazon Prime right now. And they can go to my website, which is, you can get to my website by Holley Kelley with an EY on both.com. And there's, of course, the ability to get them there. Your favorite bookseller, Barnes & Noble. And for your podcast, I will do a special promo for your podcast that if somebody wants the book, I can do, let's see, Fantastic Living podcast.com. I can give them $5 off the book there too. So anyway, if they want that.
Very generous of you, because I know how much it takes to write and how hard it is to write. And contrary to people's popular belief, people don't make much money from a book. All they do is use this to educate the people out there.
Yes, and it's so difficult because of shipping. I would like to do so much more because of international shipping is so difficult. Because I know that so many people internationally want the book. And that's what makes it so difficult. I would like to have the book be able to just be available globally through my website, and it's shipping that is the challenge. So the same thing.
So much of a challenge. One question to end this. How can people have a fantastic life and a fantastic end of life? Let's keep that short and snappy so everybody can understand it in just a small message.
I say your mind is the steering wheel that drives the car of life. And I believe that if you decide and if you really think about that, your entire life, you have been mining your fortunes of aging, all of your gems that you've been acquiring, your crystals of compassion, your emeralds of empathy.
Even O'Connor.
And all of these things that you have been stockpiling, that is what you bring to the world. And so I would say that those are the things that the world is ready to have you share with them, and every day show up and share that with the world.
That's a very important message. Everybody, I give you Holley Kelley, both with an EY, an amazing person who's given her life to help people understanding how to have the best of their life, especially in the latter life. Holley, thank you for being here today.
Thank you. We appreciate the work that you do, and thank you so much for sharing with us how to live a fantastic life. So appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. And everybody, if you like this podcast, please put a like on this so we can share it with others, and put some comments down so we can certainly pass this on to others so that they can enjoy this as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.